Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Warning: this video may contain explicit descriptions of drug use, violence, and sexual situations. Viewer discretion is advised as this content may not be suitable for all audiences.
Hello and welcome back. We are continuing our journey into the Kingdom of Fear by Hunter S. Thompson. And I hope you're doing well. I hope the universe is treating you well. And I hope you are in the best of moods and spirits while watching these videos. All my videos, not just the Kingdom of Fear videos, but all my videos are all the videos on YouTube that you want to watch. Hopefully, you're in a good mood. Hopefully, it is conducive to video watching. So, with all that said, we're continuing with our exploration of the porn industry. I believe when we last left off, Hunter was on an airplane on his way to San Francisco. For a lawsuit, either suing or defending the porn industry. So let's roll on and do this.
Etc. The Mitchell brothers, Jim and Artie, will be waiting for me at the gate, along with my personal road manager, Jeff Armstrong, who is also executive vice president for the Mitchell Brothers Film Group. These people drive big Mercedes-Benz sedans, the kind of cars favored by Joseph Mengele and Ed Meese.
Rousing endorsements.
This is the fast lane, folks, and some of us like it here. Oops. We are out of gas now, dropping into Fresno like a falling rock. Full flaps, reverse engines, then into full glide. The pilot comes on the intercom and blames crosswinds at San Francisco International.
Yeah, like I just wonder in real time how long they actually spent in that holding pattern before they had to deviate.
Bullshit. This is just another routine air traffic control emergency. Free enterprise. A quick little taste of what's coming in the next 4 years. The passengers whine and moan, but nobody except me gets off in Fresno to make a phone call, even though the ramp sergeant makes a special effort to open a door. Like sheep, and when I come back on the plane with a chronicle, they turn their eyes away, shunning me.
As people tend to do in situations like that.
Finally, the salesman sitting next to me asks if he can borrow the business section. Why not? We are all businessmen these days. I'm on my way to San Francisco to market a rare porno film, and I am 3 hours late for a crucial screening with the Mitchell brothers at their embattled headquarters on O'Farrell Street. The driver's waiting for me at the airport with an armored car and 2 fat young sluts from Korea.
I like the way he said Korea. Korea. Just the way he emphasized each syllable.
We were somewhere on a main street in San Francisco, headed for the waterfront, when a woman walked directly in front of the car on her way across the street. I felt myself seizing up, unable to speak, until Maria poked my leg and whispered urgently, "Oh my God, Hunter, look at that beautiful spine!" I was looking. We were halted for a red light, and the woman was walking briskly, also toward the waterfront, and now we were both watching her with unblinking eyes, not moving the car until some bastard honked and called me a shithead. I honked my own horn and signaled as if we were stalled, waving him to come around me in the other lane because I was helpless. Just then, the girl with the beautiful spine paused to examine what appeared to be a menu in the window of Vanessi's, or perhaps the glass tank filled with seawater and large unhappy lobsters. Wonderful, I thought. I knew Vanessi's well, and if this spine of a princess was going in there for dinner, so were we.
Nothing like a little recruitment.
I honked again, just to crank up the traffic confusion, and waved 3 more cars around me. "You dirty motherfucker!" a well-dressed man screamed at me as he passed. "Eat shit and die!" He zoomed his huge SUV into low and roared away down the hill. But the other traffic had quickly adjusted to the problem and now ignored me, as if I were some kind of goofy construction project.
That's kind of the way they handle stalls and breakdowns in Houston. They just kind of, it's just kind of there. It's just something you deal with in the moment and you rock on.
Leaving me in peace to keep an eye on this woman. It was good karma at the right moment, and I told Maria to make a note of it. I was feeling warm all over. "You asshole," she said. "Get this car started. She is moving again. She is crossing Broadway and picking up speed, almost running. God, look at that spine." "Don't worry," I told her, reaching across the seat to grasp her thigh. "Hot damn, sweetie. What do you want to do with her?" "Nothing yet," she hissed. "I just want to look at her." Indeed. It was just before dusk on Wednesday. The sun was still bright, the bay was mildly choppy, and we were mercifully unburdened with appointments or professional responsibilities at the time.
Which is always a dangerous thing for anybody. I mean, regardless of what you're doing, if you're in that situation and you have no burdens and you have time, money, yeah, that could be real dangerous.
The day was a brand new canvas. Carpe diem. The Goldstein situation developed very quickly, with no warning at all, about halfway through lunch at Pier 23 on a gray afternoon in mid-April, just a few days before the trial was set to begin. We'd come through the general hysteria surrounding the world premiere on the Grafenberg spot, and no disasters had happened. No scandals had erupted, nobody had been arrested, no personal or professional tragedies of any kind.
I just wonder, it's the porn industry that pioneers a lot of things that a lot of people don't think about. Internet security, encryption, all kinds of things that they pioneer that people just kind of don't understand. Not acknowledgement of the female orgasm is something that the porn industry pioneered.
I'd lost my temper in public a few times and been rude to the local press, but so what? It was not my job to be nice. I was, after all, the night manager of the most notorious live sex theater in America, and my job was to keep it running. It was a strange obligation that I had somehow taken on, for good or ill, and if I failed, we might all go to jail.
And that would be a bad thing.
Certainly the Mitchell brothers would go, and the theater would probably be padlocked and all the fixtures sold to pay off the fines and the court costs. The lawyers painted a grim picture of disgrace, despair, and total unemployment for everybody, including me. Our backs were all to the wall, they said. Mayor Dianne Feinstein, now a senator, was full of hate and not in a mood to compromise.
Oh, yeah. If this is during the Reagan administration when we had the satanic panic. It may have been Clinton, but I want to say Reagan when we had when like Jesse Helms and all those people, Tipper Gore went all out against music and pornography and all the things, drugs, rock and roll, sex. Yeah, they went all out against all that. Yeah, and under the guise of the satanic panic. Yeah, now that he mentions Feinstein, that just sets off all kinds of memories.
She'd been trying to close the O'Farrell for most of her 10 years in politics, and now she had everybody from Ed Meese and God to militant feminists and the President of the United States on her side. The deal was about to go down, they said. No more lap dancing in San Francisco, and never mind the busloads of Japs. It was about this time, less than a week before the trial, that Al Goldstein arrived in town for a personal screening of the new film. It was bad timing, but there was no cure for it. Al is one of the certified big boys in the sex racket. He is the publisher of Screw, the film critic for Penthouse, and perhaps the one man in America whose opinion can make or break a new sex film.
That's interesting. That's one of those facts that every time I come across it, whether I'm listening to this is the first time listening to the audio book, but when I read this novel or book or nonfiction, whatever you want to call it, it's just, there are certain things, because I always read it. I'm currently reading it when I'm not listening to it, because I make it a point to read it every election year, every presidential election year, at minimum, usually every 2 years. So there's time and I forget things. So, but
Penthouse alone sells 4 million copies a month at $2.95 each, and the prevailing retail price for X-rated video cassettes is $69.95. The wholesale net to the producer is about half that, or something like $3.5 million on sales of 100,000 in the first year, which is no big trick with the combined endorsement of Penthouse, Screw, and Al Goldstein. So if only 1% of the people who buy Penthouse buy an X-rated videocassette that comes highly recommended by the magazine, the wholesale gross is going to be $1.5 million before rentals.
What's funny about that, in the mid 80s, when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, if you were trying to go buy an X-rated movie at a video store or whatever, they would card you and would deny the sale. But you could rent them all day long. Rented a bunch of porn, copied a bunch of porn from VCR to VCR. So yeah, it was just one of those weird times. I don't know if that was indicative of just the Carpus Cove, Texas, or if it was a around the United States type thing. I don't know.
The retail gross will be about twice that, on a total investment of $100,000 or so in production costs and another $100,000 for promotion. That is not bad money for a product that any 3 bartenders from St. Louis and their girlfriends can put together in a roadside motel across the river in Memphis. There is no shortage of raw talent in the industry, and posing naked in front of a camera is becoming more and more respectable.
Yeah, and I mean, just look on the internet. You've got Metropolitan Nudes, you've got Art Nudes. I mean, you've got stuff with nudes, both male and female, that are not even connected to the porn industry now. And all it takes is a Google search.
The line between Joan Collins and Marilyn Chambers is becoming very hazy. Not everybody on the street these days can tell you the difference between Jane Fonda in leotards and Vanessa Williams in chains.
Yeah, definitely 80s. And he's right.
I can, but that is a different matter, and it will take a while to explain it. We are dealing here with a genuinely odd contradiction in the social fabric. At a time when not only the new Attorney General of the United States, and the President of the United States, and the President's wife, and the President's favorite minister, along with the moral majority and the militant feminists, and the TV guide, and also the surly fat brute of a manager at the 7-Eleven store in Vernal, Utah, who refused to sell...
I just love how he's just punching, just boom, 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 just jab, 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 jab.
Sell me a copy of Playboy at any price, and then threatened to have me arrested when I asked why. At a time when all of these powerful people and huge institutions and legions of vicious dingbats who don't need sleep are working overtime to weed out and crush the last remnants of the sexual revolution that was said to grip the nation in the 1960s and 70s, and at a time when they appear to be making serious public progress with their crusade. This is also a time of growth, vigor, and profit for the American sex industry. Business has never been better. A wino from Texas made a fortune selling Benoit balls. He is now a multi-millionaire and listed in big-time money magazines. He shuns publicity and lives alone in the desert.
Can't blame him, to be honest with you.
Women write him letters, but he's never had much luck with them. He has no friends and he will never have any heirs, but he is rich and getting richer. One of his agents, who recently visited him, said he was weirder than Howard Hughes.
I imagine so.
Most of these stories never get out. Nobody knows, for instance, who holds the patent on the penis-shaped soft plastic vibrator that sells for $9.95 in drugstores all over the world. There are stores in San Francisco that sell 100 of those things every day. When I asked the night clerk at Frenchie's in San Francisco who had the dildo concession, who collected the royalties, he said it was an elderly Negro gentleman from Los Angeles. We've known him for years, he said, but he never mentioned the patent. He comes by every week in a green Mercedes van and drops off 5 or 6 cases of dildos, sometimes 9 or 10. He's a good man to do business with. We don't know him at all. That is how it works in the sex business, which is generally estimated, without much argument from anybody connected with the business, pro or con, to be worth between $8 billion and $10 billion a year in America.
And in the 80s, I mean, even in 2024 money, that's still a boatload of money.
The true figures are probably much higher, but only the IRS really cares. $10 billion a year would just about equal the combined earnings of Coca-Cola, Hershey, and McDonald's.
All because somebody isn't getting their cut or feels they should get a cut in the government, they go to war.
Most nights are slow in the politics business, but the night we flogged Al Goldstein on the wet rug floor of the Ultra Room was not one of them. It was a fast and cruel situation, a major problem for the night manager. It was the first real test of my crisis management skills, and I handled it in my own way. The immediate results were ugly. It was so bad that there were not even any rumors on the street the next day.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Any high-style fracas at the O'Farrell Theater will normally rate at least a colorful slap from Herb Cain, or at least a few warning calls from the district attorney's office. But in this case, there was nothing. Nobody wanted any part of it, including me.
Well, you know, that's kind of good if you think about it.
But I was blamed the next morning for everything that happened. From the shame of the flogging, to the presence of innocent bystanders, to $1 million loss on the books of the Mitchell Brothers Film Group. My job was in jeopardy, and my reputation as a blue political consultant was called into serious question.
Uh-oh.
But not for long. It took about 44 days, as usual, for the truth to finally come out. And in the meantime, life got weirder and weirder. I was arrested 7 times in 6 weeks, or at least charged or accused or somehow involved with police and courts and lawyers so constantly that it began to seem like my life.
Yeah, it's kind of like when Texas Department of Criminal Justice went back to random drug testing. The first 24 months that I got that they reenacted it, I got randomly selected 14 times. So yeah, and it was a monthly. They did it they still do it the first part of the month from what I understand, but yeah, the first 2 years, yeah, I got like 13, 14 times randomly selected. So yeah.
And it seemed almost normal for a while. Going to court was part of my daily routine. At one point, I had to appear in the dock twice in 72 hours and take a savage public beating in the national press, simply because the judge had changed his mind. That's impossible, I told my lawyer, Michael Stepanian. The judge cannot change his mind. He would be overruled on appeal, which proved to be true. A week or so later, the police stole my paddle tennis rackets, causing me to forfeit my challenge for the championship of the West Coast. and then subpoenaed me to testify against a non-existent burglar in exchange for giving my rackets back. That case is still pending, along with a civil complaint from the neighbors about beatings and screaming.
It's just, yeah, you gotta wonder, with with stuff that's come out about law enforcement in the last 6-7 years, stuff like that doesn't, what Thompson is talking about seems almost tame compared to what we found out about what law enforcement does. Not only in California, but like Louisiana, Georgia, Mississippi, Florida, Tennessee, North, South Carolina, places like that, Texas. So yeah, I think this would be a good place to stop this video and wrap it up, and I'll see you in the next video. And actually, you'll see me. Maybe that's how I should. One of the things I should incorporate into my ending. Until you see me in the next video. Be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?